Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Howard who loved writing stories.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote every night. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, wubba-dubba-doo. Worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world. He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer.
Welcome to the worst writer in the world with me, Rufus, and he's long.
Ooh.
He's got approximately, but not precisely, 100 legs.
Ooh.
It's
Howard Long!
And we're back after a little break, but not as little as we promised, because we may have said we were only having 2 weeks off, but then we went and had 4. And that's because I got COVID unexpectedly. Avoided it for over 2 years and then just got me in the end. But as you can hear, I am actually better for it. I grew an extra head as a side effect.
yeah,
So
yeah.
now I'm twice as clever.
Yeah, if you notice any discrepancy between the voice you hear of Rufus now and the voice of Rufus you used to hear, that's because this guy is completely different.
Yeah, well, that guy was rubbish anyway. Let's get started, shall we?
Yes, please.
All right, Howard. I have got one of your school books, and on the front it says 1C English, Mr. Curter. So, guess you had a cover teacher. Mr. Curter. Mr. Curter, why have you given me 9 out of 20 again? Because your beans aren't good enough. Because your beans aren't posh enough. Get yourself some better beans and then you can have 20 like Alf gets with his good beans. But sir, Alf doesn't even have good beans. He just went to the shop and took a picture of some posh beans and then drew his house around it. He's lying to you. Shut up, Howard. Get better beans or start lying.
Yeah.
Lying about your beans is a good method for social mobility. Lie about your beans. Learn.
So you're suggesting that Mr. Cotton scored based on how posh you were?
Partly.
So you think
partly.
he's a massive
I think
conservative?
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of old people in Coville were, particularly if they weren't. I think the thing about Coville, as we've often said, is that everyone was fucking poor, right? But it was one of those communities where some of the people thought they weren't, right?
Yeah.
Honestly believed they weren't, and therefore spent their time looking down on the poorer people, like the people who lived on council estates, of which there were many, for example, right? the bad poor people.
Yes.
And I think your beans thing is a perfect like lampooning of that attitude. It's like it's an exaggerated but actually quite accurate representation of the way like very kind of lower middle class people look at working class people in certain areas or times or occasions.
Yeah, everyone's basically doing the same stuff up until a certain like richness.
We're all eating shit beans.
Yeah, you're eating beans.
Tinned fucking beans. But my beans are better than yours.
I mean, like, you know, the thing is, like, if you're posh, you can still eat. You can
eat what you want. If you're actually posh, you can eat what you want and not worry about how it portrays you because you've got nothing to prove because you're already posh.
Because you'll be eating your beans out of your gold plate, and that's the difference, isn't it?
Out of your gold servants. Yeah. Bring me your beans in your mouth and then tilt your head back. Lovely servant beans. Lovely gold painted servant beans. Yeah, so if your beans are in a tin, then don't worry about what kind of tin it is, you're poor. If your beans are in a gold-painted servant, well done, you're posh. And there is nothing in between those two positions.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, we're looking at a book from 1C, which means the first year of middle school, which makes you 11. So, you have drawn, it is a piece of writing, but you have drawn a newspaper front page.
Ooh, what newspaper, I wonder?
Well, I don't know, maybe you can guess. It's not the Leicester Mercury.
No.
because you're not aiming too high and expecting to get into the City newspaper. You've gone for something more realistic. This is the Coville Times.
Coville Times, yeah.
So, Howard, were you ever in the Coville Times?
Yes, yeah,
Of course,
definitely
you
been
were.
in the Coville Times.
On what occasions do you remember? I think the fact is, like, often, isn't it? Because we were both performers, and
Yeah.
so we ended up being in the Coville Times quite often. You probably even more because you performed a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
So, what are your memorable occasions of being in the Coville Times? Do you think?
Well, a classic name mix-up. I was in for the show Oliver, and they listed. They got Howard Long wrong.
They credited you with the wrong part.
No, the wrong face.
Oh shit!
They went, look at this old man.
His
This
name's
is Howard Long.
Hey, eventually it was true.
Yeah.
Just a bit of patience. That's the thing about the Coville Times. Eventually, it all comes true.
They were very forward-thinking.
This kid will be an old man one day. Right, okay, say he's an old man now. Is that what? Yeah, but eventually it'll be true. Is that how news works?
Yeah. Lying, yeah.
I remember one of the times we went to Edinburgh. This is a memory that's just appearing in my head now, right? One of the times we went to Edinburgh, when we were about to leave, like we were at the school,
Yeah.
and the bus was there in the bus park. Remember the bus park
I
outside
do.
King Edward's, right? And some photographer from a newspaper, probably Coville Times, turned up to take a picture of us, right?
Yeah.
And got, I think, like me and someone, possibly Sam, I'm not sure,
Hi, Sam.
to stand, like everyone else was kind of by the bus, and got us to come forward. But the only reason they got me is because I was holding a guitar. But not because it was anything to do with the play, because it wasn't, but just because at that point in my life I had to take my guitar everywhere with me because it was like a security blanket for me, right? So the picture in the newspaper, for some reason, had Juliet and Tybalt out in the front, like we were the most important characters. Juliet, yeah, fair enough. And this character who has about 8 lines,
Brilliant.
and dies really early on. Yeah, get them at the front. They're the real flag bearers for Romeo and Juliet. Tybalt and Juliet, a new interpretation of a classic play.
No, Tybalt's the best part, isn't it?
It's a good part, yeah, because you don't have to remember many lines and you get to have a fight and then die. Yeah, it's a good part, don't get me wrong, but it's not an important part.
It is.
It's a fun part to play because you get to be angry, be violent, have a fight and
Tybalt,
then die.
liest thou there amongst the dead men interred?
Damn right, liest me here interred. No, I'm not so fond of that bit.
Yeah.
Lying
Well,
interred.
found that line.
Couldn't live without
Found
that
the
bit.
interred line very, very funny when we did that
I'm
show.
sure we did.
Yeah, we
I
love
have
that.
no memory of that at all, but I'm sure. I mean, I still find it funny. It's a good line. Shakespeare was very funny with his tragedies. All right, so that's enough about the Coville Times. This is not a real story. I should make it clear. This is not a real story from the Coville Times.
None of the stories from the Coville Times were real. We've discovered that.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, and therefore this is a good representation of what it was like, a big lying scum newspaper.
Yeah.
But also, I suspect another reason this is not, obviously not a real story from the Coville Times, is because I don't remember the Coville Times having such interesting stories or such excellent headlines.
Mm-hmm.
Because the headline of this is "A Green Thing That Grows." And it's got a picture of, I don't know, it's a green snake or something, but with a weirdly round head.
Yeah.
Imagine it's like a green snake, but it's got a round head.
But I mean, heads are round, aren't they? So there's no shocker there.
Snakes' heads aren't. That's why it's a shocker. And also, no, heads aren't round.
Snake in round head shocker. Come on. Snake in round head shocker. That's the.
Also, I'm just jumping ahead, and sorry for jumping. It's not a snake. Apparently, it's a caterpillar.
Yes.
But it appears to be a caterpillar that doesn't have legs, according to the picture. So maybe that's the story. Caterpillar has no legs.
Or maybe when she turn over the page, the headline continues and it says legs, and so it's like a green thing that grows. Oh, wait,
This is
wait
the
for it.
Yeah.
Legs.
Legs. This is the before
Yeah,
picture. On the second page, there's the after picture. Legs. I see you have grown lots of legs. Looks like you got more legs than you need there. Maybe you could donate some to the needy me. To the needy me. So the heading is A Green Thing That Grows. And the subheading says, Is it real? I hear you ask. Well, the answer is yes. It's very real.
Oh, he's carrying on.
That is
So
the
real
subheading.
you can taste it. But don't, because it's real.
And poisonous and dead.
Yeah, you might think it's not based on this weird drawing that someone's done instead of us taking a photograph. Someone's artist impression of a massive caterpillar. Why is its head so round? What's going on?
Why has it got no legs?
Is it
why
real?
is Piglet
I
a
hear you
weird
ask, understandably.
No, it definitely
Looking at this
isn't.
drawing of a legless, round-headed snake. Yeah,
That
it's
I
real.
claim is a caterpillar. Yeah. You might be suspicious because I started my article with, Is it real? Yes, it definitely is honest.
Yes.
But no, it's definitely real. Don't worry about it. Look at the picture of Drew. Look at the picture of Drew. Round-headed snake with no legs. Called a caterpillar. Is this real? This is
definitely
proof.
real.
All right. All right, so here the story begins. It all happened when a boy named Jack, brackets Newton, found a caterpillar in his garden. But this one was different. didn't have legs.
It was massive.
Zero legs, massive
Huge,
green.
round head.
This one was different. Now it has grown.
Wow.
This one
It's just
was
like it's just like
different.
a
Now it
real
has
it's like a
grown.
real newspaper article the way it jumps around and it's kind of
It makes no sense. Yeah, this one was different. Now it has grown. So I talked to Jack to see what he had to say.
Mhm.
That is why a reporter might talk to someone. I talked to him to ask him questions and so that he could answer the questions. And then what he said, I could write down.
I was interested in the words that would come out of his mouth. So I asked him to produce some.
Yeah, this is the same thing that I remember. Like a lot of my students do this now, and I tell them don't do this. But I remember as a kid doing this exact thing when you have to write an essay, right? And so someone says, "Oh, okay, write an essay in your religious education class about discrimination."
Mm-hmm. I'd be right. Discrimination is bad. There are two types of discrimination.
yeah, you would. But the thing is, when you like not exactly at middle school, but when you get a little bit older and you're at like secondary school or even university, and you're struggling to write an introduction,
Yeah.
and introductions are difficult, and you go, okay, so you start when you write in this essay, I will ask the question, is discrimination real? And then I will look at both sides of the whether
Yes.
discrimination is real or not, and I will come to a conclusion.
Yes.
And your introduction is the fucking most pointless thing anyone's ever written, right? And that's the feeling I have here as well. You're writing an introduction. I spoke to Jack to see what he had to say, and it's like this. You don't need to say this.
It's true, but when you did it in that particular voice just then, to see what he had to say, it made it seem like a TV report, and it seemed good.
It seemed real.
Seemed
It seemed
normal.
like it was good. I know. I when I was saying, I was like, shit. Now it sounds. I've done it wrong because now it sounds right.
It's just such a good actor.
I spoke to Jack to see what he had to say.
Yeah, because what's happened is that there's literally no way on God's earth that I ever read the Coville Times unless I was
But
in
you
it.
did watch TV, yeah.
Unless I
But
was
you
in it
did
and
watch
was like, hold on
TV.
a second, why do I look so old? So,
Wow, the camera really does add 10 years.
and who's that guy stood next to me with a different name that looks exactly like I do now? It's so strange.
Must have been a mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was probably just like writing it like I'd heard on the news.
Yeah.
And like pretending it was a newspaper.
Maybe. All right, so the next, there's one of those, you know how in tabloids they have little like section headings where they just put one word.
No, as I say, I've
But,
never
like,
read a
it says, like,
newspaper.
In tabloids, like and you'll see it. Just put one word in bold. It will say "shocking." It'll
Oh,
just tell
okay.
you what emotion you're meant to feel next.
Good journalism. I think I might learn how to be a journalist after this.
Well, no, because you decided to instead of to do that, you just wrote the word "interview." So you said, "I went to interview him," and then you've got a little heading: "Interview."
Wow.
On what day did you find it? All right, so I guess you're just writing the speech, but with no dialogue tags here, and also no. On
It's
that
an
first-
interview.
It is, but your questions have no speech marks, but the answers have speech marks. So, on what day did you find it? That's you speaking. For a start, this is Jack.
Yeah.
For a start, he is not it,
Mm-hmm.
and his name is Ben, and I found him on 13/2/93
Yeah, I mean, like,
on a date.
I'd also be like, well, why does it matter what day I found it? What kind of journalism is this?
That's your opening question as well.
It's very important to know whether it was a Thursday or a Wednesday.
What time exactly did you find it? Was it 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock? What were you wearing
Yeah.
when you found him?
What? Where are his fucking legs? Where are his fucking legs?
What did you do with his fucking legs?
Why is his head so round?
I didn't eat them. I didn't sell them to French Spider-Man. I definitely didn't do that. Were you scared when you saw it?
Why would I be? It was a fucking caterpillar, didn't it? Wasn't it regular size? Sorry, wasn't he? What was he? Ben? Wasn't he?
Yeah, Ben.
Wasn't Ben normal sized when
I don't know. It's a bit unclear. isn't it?
Jack
Because
Newton found?
It says he
him.
found. No, I don't know because it says it found a caterpillar in the garden, but this one was different. We haven't really established exactly the time frame, but hopefully we'll get that as we go on.
Okay.
So yeah, you asked, were you scared when you saw it? Ben, he corrected me. Ben, then.
Because that's what people always do. That's what journalists always do: include their own errors and have the person they're interviewing
Interviewee correct them, yeah, and then
include it all.
apologise.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. I'll make sure I write all of this in full in my interview. Ben, then, I said. Well, to answer, I was not scared because he was cute and small.
Right. So he was small. Yeah.
He is still cute, but big. Anyhow, I still love him.
But he's in. Did you say he's in love with him? Just say that. Is that what you said?
Not exactly. I mean, it depends how you read this. Because he said, basically, Jack said, I was not scared because he was cute and small.
Yeah.
He is still cute, but big. Anyhow, I still love him.
Oh God! I can't believe I was writing like penis metaphors as an 11-year-old.
He was small, but big,
Small
but
one.
he still makes me happy,
Yeah.
and I still love him.
He
I
was-
wish someone else
yeah,
would love
he
him.
was-
I wish I didn't have to love him myself all the time.
He was small when I met him, but now he's big. Yeah, do you want to know how he got big? Do you? You ask me the important questions.
No, I want to know what day you met him on. But it seems he has to go.
He has to go.
But you better talk to my parents about that.
They're arranging his train ticket, so I'll tell you where he's going.
It's true, isn't it? You know, like, it was small, but then he got big,
Yeah.
and that made me love him. Right? But if he can't stay forever, eventually he has to go.
Yeah.
Small, but. I don't really understand why, so you better, because I'm an 11-year-old, so you better talk to some adults about this.
Yeah.
To be honest, why is this journalist interviewing an 11-year-old boy about his penis getting bigger? You had better talk to my fucking parents, okay? Because they're going to call the police. So I went into the garden. Oh, yeah, I forgot. So I, the journalist, went into the garden to talk to Jack's parents.
I passed 10 turkeys.
It does seem like it's the same character, right? Probably I noticed that in the house there was one turkey just sitting in front of the fire smoking a cigar. I'm like, why have you got one turkey? He's like, oh, well, I was going to eat him for Christmas dinner, but then I felt great pity on him, and so we had boar's head instead.
Yeah. Mind you, I mean, Jack's a lot older in Jack's turkeys, so probably this Jack's got 10 eggs, hasn't he?
Is he? Do you know that for certain? Do we know the age of this Jack or the age of Jack in Jack's turkeys?
Well, he owns well, no, I just assumed he was old because he owned turkeys. But I mean,
Yeah, or that this was a child. We don't know that this is a young. Just because, I mean, we assume it's a child because he found.
he said go and
He
ask my
found a
parents.
caterpillar.
Because he said go
He
and ask
found a
my
caterpillar.
parents.
Told him to ask her parents. And,
But he's
I mean,
actually
we're assuming he's
now
11.
He's
but
40.
we don't know.
Yeah, he's
He
a
could be an
40-year-old
adult who lives
man.
with his parents. And is so excited when he finds a caterpillar that he calls the newspaper.
Oh, yeah. He finds a caterpillar, and he phones the
So
newspaper
excited
and
when he
say,
gets a
"Hey,
hard-on."
guess what's happened?"
Well, maybe he's really old. He's like, "Yeah, all right. Is that the Cornwall Times? I just got an erection for the first time in 30 years. Send a photographer around." And they're like, "No, stop calling." And he's like, "Oh, I'll pretend. All right. Hello, I'm a little child. My caterpillar just went big. Can you send a photographer?" They're like, "Oh yeah, send a photographer for that caterpillar that went big." So, next section says, "Mr. Newton," I said, "why do you think Ben should go?" "It," Mrs. Newton corrected me.
Oh,
"Well, he is strange, and probably from Mars. He might eat people for all we know," said
has
Mr.
he?
Newton.
Has he done that? No.
No, but he might. He's got a round head, and he used to have a lot of legs. Fortunately, we sold them to the French Spider-Man. Then I asked Mrs. Newton a few questions because I'd thoroughly grilled Mr. Newton. There's nothing else to ask him.
To be fair, like, you know, once someone said he's probably come from Mars and eats people, be like, "Yeah, probably going to talk to your wife,
All right,
actually."
so, Mrs. Newton, Mrs. Newton, are you a bit less
No, I
ridiculous?
think he comes from Jupiter, and he probably drinks people. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, back to you, Mr. Newton.
Turns out you're the logical one in this relationship. Yeah, I am. Although she might be right about him drinking people. She might have a point there. I was assuming eating, but that's a bit human, isn't it? Aliens probably do drink people. Ooh. All right. So I asked Mrs. Newton a few questions. Do you like it?
How dare you? How dare you ask me if I like it? I do like it.
Do you like it
would
when
you
your
like
son's
to?
penis goes hard, goes big? What? Oh, that's what I'm here to talk. It's not really a caterpillar, you know. He's talking about his penis.
Yes, my son's penis probably comes from Mars and eats people. That's what I think.
Or drinks people. That's what I think.
I'm going to go back and interview your 11-year-old. He seemed quite normal now.
Yeah. All right, son, tell me about your penis. I've just been talking to your parents and it was worse. Go on.
Yeah, come
Oh, yeah, the photographer's here to take pictures. Yeah, I'll write a fucking article. Get on with it.
Steve, am I allowed to photograph this child's penis, though? Yeah, you'd be fine.
Later on, I was told that, Ben, brackets, it, was to go to the police station. Because Coville police are so bored that sometimes they arrest caterpillars, or maybe they arrest boys' penises. We're not quite sure.
What are they going to be putting the handcuffs around? I want to know.
The journalist, I assume. Hello. So I hear you are interviewing a boy's penis that has gone hard. Could you come to the police station?
I am, yeah. Unfortunately, he wouldn't let me photograph it, but I've drawn his penis and I've put it on the front of the newspaper.
If you could come to the... Do you want me to bring the penis with... No, just come alone if you could, please. I could bring Ben with me. Yeah. Who is Ben? He's a caterpillar. Just come to the fucking police station, okay? Yeah, all right, so I took Ben to the police station. What are you doing? You told me to bring this boy's penis to the police. No, we did not. All right, anyway, so later on I was told that it was that Ben was to go to the police station. So off I went. When I arrived... Mm-hmm. The policeman in charge... Mm-hmm. Okay,
hello. The policeman in charge. I've arrested this penis. I'm going to put your penis in a cell now.
I'm trying to read this. In brackets, it says the policeman's name. And it seems to be like Mr... it looks like Farhtyar. RSE, which I think is
Mr.
just
Farty Hearts.
I think it's Mr. Farty Arse. I think it's Mr. Farty Arse,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's like a deliberately kind of trying to be confusing, but, not terribly I'll put Mr. Farty Arse in my story and my teacher will never know because my teacher isn't reading it. So Mr. Farty Arse said, "Oh, you've missed Ben. He just went with the RSPCA."
Oh. Weird of them to take an interest in a small boy's penis, isn't it?
Okay, so I left the police station, forgetting to talk to the police officer. What? I mean, you just did talk to him. He told you Ben had gone to the RSPCA. You mean forgetting to ask him your fucking insightful questions?
Yeah, what day
what day did Ben
go
today? just happened. Soon, I arrived at the RSPCA to find Jack talking to a man with a red beard.
Santa? No, that's not Santa. Okay, I got confused then.
Yeah, Santa with his famous red beard.
I suppose if he puts himself in with his costume, then accidentally he forgets and he puts himself in with his costume. The red runs and
puts himself
dyes
in. You mean in the washing machine?
and he dyes his beard red. Yeah, Santa's always doing that.
So a man with a red beard brackets Mr. Care-a-Lot.
I know why this is. What's happening is there definitely is no massive caterpillar, right? And the kid's like, yeah, you need to speak to my parents. And the parents are like, oh, you need to speak to the
Right,
police.
because he hasn't seen it yet,
Yeah.
right?
Because it doesn't exist.
Because the kid doesn't have a penis.
Oh, he's definitely got one of those, but he doesn't have a gigantic caterpillar. The
he's talking
journalist,
about his penis.
the journalist's not figured it out yet. It's just one big joke that everyone's playing on him.
Yeah, so the journalist believes it's a caterpillar, but the kid's playing a joke because actually it's his penis. He's like, come round to my house. My caterpillar went big.
Yeah.
No, it was a prank call.
Yeah.
It was a prank call. The kid was like, his mate was round. His mate was round. Like, no, I'm going to call the Kovo Times and tell them my caterpillar went big. You're like, yeah, do it. Brilliant.
Do it.
No, hello, Kovo Times. My name's Jack Newton and my caterpillar went big. Bye. Slam the phone down, think that was a brilliant joke. And then backfires 2 hours later. A journalist and a photographer come around. You've got to keep it up. His name was, I don't know, what's the name like? Penis. Ben. All right, yeah. His name was Ben. But he's in my parents. Go and talk to my parents. And they're like, his parents are like, whoa. It's fucking rat ass. What do you think about it? I don't know, it came from space.
Because it did,
might
of course. Famously.
Might drink people.
It came from outer space. That's true, yeah.
And then he's like, I better go and talk to Jack again. And Jack's like, no, the police came and got my caterpillar. I better go to the police then. And the police are like, well, I don't know, we don't usually arrest caterpillars. That's more, I guess if anyone arrested a caterpillar, maybe ask the RSPCA. Maybe someone got confused and it was actually a dog, and the RSPCA got it because no one. Like, we just leave caterpillars. Like, that's just, everyone just leaves caterpillars alone. That's how the world reacts to them.
Even big ones.
Even big ones, yeah. But, I mean, I guess if you need to talk to anyone, go to the RSPCA. Oh, brilliant, I'll go to the RSPCA. So he went there to find Jack talking to a man with a red beard. Jack's like, could you pretend that you arrested my caterpillar to get rid of this fucking journalist? I pulled a prank and it's got way out of hand. Anyway, his name was Mr. Care-a-Lot.
I mean, as if it was.
Yeah, that's his mate. That's Jack's mate pretending.
Or some tramp he's paid. His beard's red because he's had it dipped in beans, hasn't he?
His beard's red because it's not a real beard. It's the 90s, right? So back in the days of everything being fucking racist in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those old racist Scottish person kits that you get from like a seaside shop or something, where you get a tartan beret and a ginger beard, and he's got that out of his toy cupboard, and he's gone, put this on quick, pretend you work for the RSPCA, we'll go and stand outside and intercept the journalist. He doesn't seem too clever. Don't worry, we'll just stay outside. You say, oh hello, I'm from the RSPCA, my name's I don't know, Mr. Care-a-Lot. Just make something up, don't worry about it. So red beard to pretend he's an adult. He's probably got stilts and a long coat on.
Brilliant.
They had decided that Ben was to go to the zoo. Oh yeah, don't go in. Don't. I mean, why is Jack there? You know. Oh yeah, we've decided that the big caterpillar should go to the zoo and it's closed, so maybe you should just give up and stop writing the stupid fucking story. What do you think? A big cage was made, for Ben was now the size of a lion. Oh, yeah, he's the size of a lion now. Pretty scary. Probably don't want to go. Probably don't want to go and look at him. Yeah. Just go home and don't worry about it.
That's not big. I was imagining he was already much bigger than a lion.
Really?
Yeah, I in my mind he was like, bigger than Digby.
I mean, what I want to know, as big as a lion, in what sense? Because lions aren't long like caterpillars.
No, I think when I say as big as a lion, I mean as exactly the same shape as a lion. So he's like got a mane and a tail and like 4 legs and.
Yeah, you see that lion? That's the caterpillar.
You mean that one you've put with green paint dripping off it? Yeah, that one, yeah.
And it looks like a lion, and outside the cage it says lions, right? But yeah, no, that is my caterpillar. So take a picture of that and then go home, please. Off I trotted to the zoo. So the plan has not worked.
Oh, shit.
I arrived and talked to a zookeeper.
He's drafted in to play the zookeeper.
I thought Ben looked like a mong with his bald head.
Good reporting.
I mean, that is what it looks like, it says, but I think looking closely, I was worried because, again, like I said, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
And everyone was terrible. And you were an 11-year-old, so you were terrible, and your teachers were terrible, so they didn't stop you. But no, I think it doesn't say that. I thought Ben looked like a monk with his bald head. But now, back to the story.
Okay.
Right, but the story is about Ben. And the journalist. I mean, that's what it's about. So what the journalist thought about Ben is the story. Yeah. But now back to the story. Anyway, so then I went to the shops. But now back to the story. I bought some beans. But now back to the story. I took my beans home. But now back to the story. I ate my beans. No, that's not back to the story. That's just the next thing in the story.
Well, I mean, I think we're definitely right. Because what's happened here is the reason it looks like a monk is because it's a monk. What they've done is they've got a sign that says zoo, hung it up at the monastery, and he's kind of
they're not allowed to speak.
They're going like, yeah, that guy that caterpillar over there, he looks a bit like a monk, doesn't he? With his bald head and his monk outfit,
and his monastery.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought Ben looked like a monk with his bald head, but now back to the story. The zookeeper said they were doing great business.
I mean, you'd be able to tell, wouldn't you? Are you sure? Because there's nobody here, apart from all these monks.
Yeah, the zookeeper said they were very popular with monks. But Ben was getting too big, although 2 only has 1 O, so Ben was getting too big. Brackets now, he was the size of a horse.
Even though I was looking at him and he was the size of a monk and was a monk.
Well, some horses, though, are quite small, aren't they, and shaped like monks and are monks.
In the background, somebody's like trying to coax the monk into doing a horse impersonation.
Giving him a
carrot, yeah. Whipping him.
I saw a monk eating a carrot and just jumped to a conclusion.
And getting whipped. Don't forget getting whipped.
I found Jack squabbling with his mum and dad. For Jack was to ride on Ben at the circus in the summer. Story's taken another unexpected turn.
And they don't want him to. But he's going to, because he's an 11-year-old and he'll do what he damn well likes.
No, he's going to go to the circus and ride on his penis. Right.
He's going to go and get his penis out in front of a crowd.
Yeah, his parents don't want him to.
Yeah.
But Jack's parents disapproved until they were presented with a big check. And they said, yes, my dear, and you can ride him at the circus. More excellent reporting. The circus was glad to have him, but the clowns said he ruins our act. Nobody likes us anymore.
Not now. They can look at the boy's tiny penis. With him going like, look at my big penis. It's like, it's really small.
So much bigger
small.
than it used to be, though.
Yeah, but it's still small.
Yeah, but look at it.
Look at his
No, I think
legs.
we're
It
gonna-
hasn't got any legs.
No, that's because I sold them to Spider-Man. Go home, child.
He's ruining our act.
Go. He really is. And we're all in prison now for letting this happen and making people pay to look at it.
If it is just a real giant caterpillar and a child riding it, I don't see how that ruins the clown's act. I mean, it might be better than their act or something, but
Maybe the clowns were all riding pretend caterpillars. Right?
Yeah.
They had big paper caterpillars. And then this
true.
kid turns up with a real caterpillar and they're all like, we look rubbish now. Anyway, so the riding was very good. As I saw it for free. I got to see the riding kid, the kid riding a giant caterpillar for free. And it was very good. I mean, how could a kid riding a big caterpillar not be good? It sounds fucking amazing. A dream come true. You know, the only thing missing from my life is watching a boy riding on a big caterpillar at a circus. If I saw that, I reckon I could die happy.
yeah. But of course he didn't, because as we all know, it's not a real circus. It's a tent in his garden that he's put the word circus on. He's got in there. He's got his penis out and invited a man to look at it. And the clowns,
It was very
the
good.
clowns, which are just like his guinea pigs that he's stapled wigs to, are kind of like hopping around like.
Going
Weep, 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 it's going up.
and the
They're really
man's like,
jealous.
Oh, what was that?
They're jealous.
really jealous.
They don't like my act. It's the thing, it spoils their act.
Then a vet said,
Then a vet said, right, okay, yeah.
I am going to inject Ben with a stop growing liquid. I'm going to inject Ben with a stop growing liquid. Where did this vet come from? Why didn't you establish this as a passing vet? Then a passing vet who I didn't ask any questions of, didn't say where did you come from, didn't say what day is it. Just a passing vet said, turned up and said, I'm going to inject Ben with a stop growing liquid.
Yes, something that all we vets carry around with us. Stop growing formula.
But then the vet says, if he keeps growing, he'll cost too much to keep. Because young Howard knew what was important, and that was money.
Yeah. Yeah, where are we gonna what do caterpillars eat? Grass, right?
Your plants. They eat your cabbages, right?
Yeah, you could just set him loose on some like plants that need eating.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but do you want to go to the supermarket and buy like 100 cabbages every day for your fucking caterpillar? Chucking them in there, chucking them in whole. So eventually, it was allowed. Yeah, so I guess this passing vet turned up and went, I'd like to inject that caterpillar. Is that all right? Because, you know, if I don't, he's going to cost you.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what vets say, right? They're all like, oh, yes, I've got to give your cat very expensive vaccinations.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to cost you a lot more later.
True.
And we know that actually vaccinations are not real and put 5G technology in you so that the government can track your
Yeah, that's what the
movements
vet's
or
doing,
something.
putting 5G in that caterpillar. Sorry, into that small boy's penis.
Do you mind if I inject this boy's penis? Is that all right? Because otherwise it's going to go big and it'll cost you a lot of money to feed cabbages to. Is that all right? Is that okay? Is all right if I do that now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, inject.
If I inject your son's penis now, it will save people inserting cabbages into it in the future. This is what I'm here to do. I like the eventually, because that suggests that like there was probably like a 10-year court case where people were arguing the pros and cons and whether you could
this-
do the
this
rights
was
of the
not-
caterpillar and things like that.
Yeah, that this is this. Who is this vet? Do we know he's a
Yeah.
vet? Have we checked? Has anyone checked his credentials? Ben began to shrink. It's not just a stop growing liquid; it's a get smaller liquid.
Yeah.
And now nobody wants to know about him anymore.
Aw.
Why are you writing a fucking article then?
Yeah.
He went back to Jack. Did he ever leave Jack?
Yeah,
I suppose for the court case. The court case, yeah.
joined the circus.
Yeah, but Jack was riding him in the circus. He was as small as he was when Jack found him. Now his parents, Jack's parents, liked Ben more. Ben was allowed to wander in the garden. Then, one night, Ben did not come back.
No.
Jack found that his father had stood on Ben.
Oh no! How do you stand on your own son's penis? That's already going to be a really weird position that someone's in.
Jack cried a lot.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Someone stood on my penis, I would cry a lot.
And went to hospital.
Yeah.
I spoke to Mr. Newton just before he was taken away by the police. He said he could not see very well, as Ben is such, brackets was, a small monster.
Yeah, because they called it a monster when it was big, so they still think it's a monster, but a tiny monster now.
He said he could not see very well, as Ben is such a small monster, so that's the end of the story, isn't it? All right, now, would you like to know what, Mark? In fact, would you like to have a guess?
I don't think I could have got 19 for that because it's nothing like a news report.
Well, I've got a bit of a shock for you. You did not get 19 out of 20.
See,
You got B plus because Mr. Cotton just could not fucking be consistent with his stupid shitting marking system.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote every night. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, wubba-dubba-doo. Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Worst Writer in the World. We'll be back next week with more, but if you can't wait that long, or if you just want to get your hands on an absolute load of audio entertainment right now, then go to patreon.com/manbycow and see what you could get for as little as $2 a month. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye, milk.
Bye-bye,
He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer. Yeah.